Alright, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. Today what we're going to do is what's called the Three Sisters. Now, I have tried this several times in the past, and I'll be honest with you, corn doesn't seem to do very well here. I think it's partially because I got sandy soil. Takes a lot of water, and this year, if you look at my corn, it's looking a little rough, been eaten up a bit. I don't know. We'll see, hopefully it comes out. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and do the other two sisters. So when you do the three sisters, one of the things you want to do is let your corn get ahead of the beans and the squash. So now what I've got a couple of different squash seeds. I've got some climbing beans, and this is the point behind this. You want pole beans in one sort or another. So I'm going to do pinto beans. We use a ton of pinto beans, and hopefully I'll be able to get some to grow and help out with that. Even though pinto beans, let's face it, they're like one of the cheapest beans in the world. You know, usually about a buck a pound. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So the idea is you want to plant beans, and what the beans do is they provide nitrogen in the soil, and then they use the corn to grow up. That's why you use the pole beans. That's the theory, at least. And so as the corn grows, the beans follow. The beans provide nitrogen for the corn. That makes the corn grow better. And then the beans in turn get something to climb on as they grow up. The squash is primarily there to provide shade to keep weeds out. So I kind of got a plan. I'm going to do some spaghetti squash here. And we'll put 3 of them in there. Alright. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the beans. I'm also going to use some acorn squash. And I'll put that over here, and we'll see how that grows. Did real well with the spaghetti squash this year. Haven't really tried the acorn squash. We did the long neck yellow squash. And then the beans. Oh, by the way, these are a pretty cool little item. This is essentially a hardware, I think it was a picture hanging hardware kit. And it sits down on a post, and there's like, I want to say 6 of these. But they work great for holding seeds, just so you know. But these are my pinto beans from last year. Now I'm trying to use seeds like these squash seeds that I just planted. Those are actually from this year's spring production of spaghetti squash. So then how you want to go about planting your beans, you want to just go along and pretty much put them, I'm going to put them in between, and you go down about 1 inch. And I'm going to just stick them in. I'm going to go a little deeper because the soil gets hot, and I'm a little concerned that they may not grow. But basically in between every other corn, I'm going to plant a bean. Now I may not get all of these to grow, but most of them should. So if I don't get corn, I ought to get beans. If I don't get beans, I ought to get squash. And if I don't get anything, well, at least I had a chance to get outside and hang out for the day. Alright, so that's how you go about doing your 3 sisters. I will get back to you once they all start to grow up, and hopefully the corn gets a little taller. Oh, and the corn, you want the corn, when you're doing the 3 sisters, to be about 1 foot tall. You want to give it about that much of a head start, which is about where I'm at. The stalks are, close to 1 foot tall. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing it now. I'll go ahead and finish up planting this garden bed. Thanks once again for stopping by. Like, subscribe, and let me know what you think.